You felt it before, that knowing emptiness in the quiet moments, the restless ache when life feels routine, predictable and heavy, the sense that no matter how much you achieve, how much you consume, how much you plan, you're still missing something essential. And here's the unsettling truth. Most people live their entire lives without ever realizing why. Because consciousness isn't a single moment, a single decision, or even a single life. It's a ladder, a spectrum, a series of thresholds. And most people linger in the lower rungs, repeating the same mistakes, chasing fleeting pleasures, and pretending that knowing more is the same as being more. But consciousness is not what you think it is, philosophers. Mystics and psychologists have all tried to map it, each revealing fragments of a hidden truth. Plato suggested that our soul climbs from illusion to knowledge, from shadows to the light of understanding. Nietzsche called it the transvaluation of values, a process by which we must confront our deepest instincts and redefine what is meaningful. Jung spoke of individuation, the journey to reconcile every part of the psyche. Even those we despise or deny, all of these point to the same reality. Consciousness is layered. It has stages. Some are familiar, some are painful, and only one will ever set you free. Let's begin with the first stage, survival. This is the stage where most humans operate unconsciously. Here, the mind is preoccupied with comfort, fear, and avoidance. You react more than you choose. Life is a series of impulses. I want, I need, I fear. Your attention is external, focused on securing security, recognition, or escape from discomfort. The truth is brutal. This stage is necessary, but insufficient. It is the basement of your consciousness, the raw material, the clay from which the rest of you must be sculpted, and many people never leave it. They remain trapped, exhausted by life, never realizing their own potential. The second stage is social conditioning. Here, your thoughts and desires are filtered through the expectations of others, family, society, culture. You measure yourself against standards not your own. You chase validation, approval, and identity from outside. The danger here is subtle. You confuse the mask for the face, the borrowed voice for your own. Machiavelli warned of this in a different way. He observed how power often bends the individual to external pressures, how human behavior can be hijacked by the invisible strings of expectation. The third stage, self-awareness. You begin to notice your patterns, your compulsions, your shadows. Anxiety, guilt, envy, and frustration become teachers rather than punishments. Here, the mind reflects on itself. Jung called this confrontation with the shadow, the recognition of the parts of yourself you've hidden, denied, or despised. Nature would remind you that this stage is agonizing. To see yourself clearly is to face suffering without distraction. And yet it is vital. Without it, the higher stages remain unreachable. Stage 4, responsibility. This is where your consciousness begins to expand outward. You see the consequences of your actions not just on yourself, but on others, the world, and the subtle web of existence around you. Bonhoeffer wrote that responsibility is the antidote to submission to external chaos. At this stage, you cannot blame circumstance, upbringing, or society for your condition. You claim yourself fully, your choices, your fears, your destiny. Stage 5, integration. Here, the mind and soul begin to align. You no longer fight with yourself. You recognize that your impulses, shadows, and virtues all have a role to play. Like a conductor coordinating a symphony, you harmonize the disparate elements of your consciousness. Life still challenges you, but now you respond rather than react. Pain still arrives, but it becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. Stage 6. Transcendence. This is the outer edge of ordinary human experience. Here self and world blur. You recognize patterns invisible to others. You feel connected to something larger, call it the universe, the collective unconscious, or the flow of existence itself. Plato would describe it as glimpsing the eternal forms, the pure light behind the shadows of the cave. But beware, this stage can be intoxicating. Many mistake temporary insight for liberation, confusing perception with permanent freedom, and then comes the 7th stage. The stage most never reach, the stage that finally sets you free. It is not survival. It is not awareness. It is not transcendence. It is surrender. The surrender I speak of is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is the paradoxical act of fully embracing your limitations, your mortality, and the incompleteness of all things. You stop resisting the flow of existence. You release attachment to outcomes, identities, and expectations. You realize that freedom is not achieving, but being. Here's the twist most philosophers fail to mention. The stage of surrender is terrifying because it strips everything away. It strips your ego, your security, your pride, everything you cling to in order to feel safe. And yet, paradoxically, it is the only thing strong enough to carry you beyond the prison of your mind. Storytelling is useful here. Imagine a man clinging to the edge of a cliff, fists gripping the stone, afraid to fall. Survival keeps him alive. Awareness teaches him how strong he is. Integration teaches him how to balance. But only when he lets go, releases the cliff entirely, does he discover flight. The cliff never disappears. He simply learns he was never meant to cling. This is the stage of surrender. And liberation, the uncomfortable truth is this: most people will never reach it. They will cycle endlessly through survival, conditioning, awareness, and even transcendence, always chasing, always grasping, always resisting. But you may already feel the stirrings of this stage within you, the restless awareness, the quiet dissatisfaction, the longing for something beyond understanding, something beyond control. Philosophers, mystics, and sages throughout history all hinted at this. Freedom is not found in power, knowledge, or achievement. Freedom is found in release. So I leave you with this question: how tightly are you clinging to your cliff? What would it feel like to let go completely, without guarantee, without safety, without certainty? And what might you discover on the other side when you do? Because the ladder of consciousness is not just a journey upward, it is a journey inward. And only by surrendering fully can you finally set yourself free